everyone, and welcome once again to our webinar weekly series. This week is sponsored by our good friends at the Kissimmee Utility Authority, who share the motto of our mission statement being champions for business and community. And so we're excited to come to you with some very timely and important information this week. We wanted to bring it to you live, but our technology didn't cooperate. So we are recording this, and we're going to have a great conversation today. But if you do desire more information, we still encourage you to put it in the thread. And if you'd like, we're happy to convene a group to do a deeper dive on some of this information. So we'll keep this to 15 minutes and keep it high level, but we're happy to follow up and get you some more information. And if you need that one-on-one, there are resources available with partners of the Chamber, both our banks, who we'll talk to today, as well as Small Business Development Center and Prospera. So with all that being said, I'm going to introduce our guest. Amber Adams is the Osceola Community President and Senior Vice President for Center State Bank. She has been in bank management for 19 years and with Center State Bank for the last 9 years, working in roles such as the Poinciana Branch Manager, Retail Market Manager, Retail Regional Manager, and now has moved into the role as Community President for the last 2 years. During her 9 years in Osceola County, she's participated in roles with the Chamber of Commerce on our Poinciana Area Council Board as a past chair, the Poinciana Medical Center Board of Trustees as a past chair, Community Vision as chair in the finance area, and member of the Rotary Club of Kissimmee, and she's a proud graduate of Leadership Osceola, which just came back to the Chamber. So very involved. We welcome you, Amber. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So you've got the resume, and I know you've also got all the knowledge and support on this topic today, which is the PPP round 2. And so right at the outset, the window is open. SBA opened it Monday. So is this a good program, and should our businesses be chasing these monies?
Absolutely. So as part of the most recent past relief package, there's approximately $285 billion that's been allocated for new funding of the first-time PPP loans, and also a second PPP loan for those who qualify.
So we'll break that down a little more. So this is round 2. And to be clear, if you got round 1, you can still get round 2. So maybe address that right away. If you got round 1, you might have to do some stuff to go after round 2.
Correct. So there is a separate application process for round 2. There's a number of similarities in round 1 and round 2, but some major differences as well, which we could highlight.
Great. And then some of those differences include an expansion of those eligible. I know the Chamber as a 501c6 was excluded up until this Monday. So we're looking into actually getting that help for our operations. But so maybe start to break down how round 2 looks, what some of those changes are.
Absolutely. So on round 2, the maximum loan amount is going to be $2 million per borrower. There's some expanded eligibility, as you mentioned, which is the 501c6 businesses, such as the Chamber of Commerce. In the second round, this is a big change. In the second round, a business must show a 25% decrease in revenue quarter 2020 over quarter 2019. And I'll kind of jump into that a little bit more. You can show an annual decrease from 2019 to 2020, but you're required to at least show 1 quarter. So if you're using Q3 2019 compared to Q3 2020, there must be that decrease of 25% in revenue.
So
go ahead.
No, well, so that's important that so we're looking at the same quarter there. Is that right?
Correct. Correct. We want to use the same quarter in 2019 as we're looking at in 2020.
Okay.
Just like in round 1, round 2 will have a maximum loan amount of 2.5 times payroll. However, in round 2, they've expanded that for industries with the NICS code of 72, which is your restaurants and hospitality businesses. And they are able to use 3.5 times their payroll. Wow. For a business to qualify, they must have 300 or less employees. And just like in round 1, every business is required to use 60% of their proceeds, at least 60% of their proceeds for payroll expenses. The other 40% can be used on rent, utilities, and mortgages, just like in round one. However, they've expanded that some and are allowing you to use it for expenses that were used on PPE gear, essential supplies, and even accounting. Round two, the borrower will have to certify their first loan has been or will be used on eligible expenses. So that's a big deal too. The borrower on the application is going to have to certify that their first loan is going to be forgiven if it hasn't already.
So that's huge. So you can get both, but you need that certification, but you can start the process. It doesn't have to be totally forgiven to get into round two.
Absolutely.
So I often say, and team here at the Chamber often say that the Chamber tries to be your best business partner, right? So if you're in business, we're non-compete and we're here to help make you more successful. So I do want to talk about, and we'll get back to some PPP. I know there's still some questions, but CenterState is going through a merger, which will only make you stronger. And so as people want to fill this out, it's basically a 3-page application. I think there's only 2 pages to fill out and a 3rd page of disclaimers and things. So pretty simple application process. You do need that supporting documentation. Can you talk to us maybe briefly about the merger, but also how, if anybody comes into your bank through this process, how they'll be treated?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yes, in early 2020, CenterState announced that we would be going through a merger of equals with South State Bank. We closed on that merger in June of 2020 amidst all this fun pandemic. This merger creates a $34 billion bank, which is going to be the largest bank headquartered in the state of Florida. We'll have over 300 offices across 6 states, which include Florida, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia. Although the merger has happened already, the rebranding of the bank will happen in spring of 2021. So we're going through that process now, and we'll go through the conversion of our system to get us all on one system spring of this year. So lots of work still to be done, but exciting times, creates a lot of opportunity for our institution for sure.
Absolutely. So clients and non-clients can come in and get this help on PPP. Is that right? So talk a little bit about that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So back in 2020, when we went through this process, the combined bank, South State, CenterState together, did about 20,000 PPP loans. We had our hiccups, just like every bank. It was a new process. We kind of had to learn how it all worked. But after doing 20,000 applications, I think we've got it down to somewhat of a science, and we're prepared to take applications. We will take applications for those who did PPP first round with us. We will take applications for businesses that qualify that have not used us in the past. We will do applications for new businesses and our new customers and existing customers. There's going to be a simple process through a link that will be provided to the applicant. They can reach out to us directly at any of the branch locations to get more information, or to me directly as well.
And you do have a third-party administrator, I think you said, to help facilitate. So not only do you have the resources of the bank at hand, but you've got additional help to expedite this a little quicker for your customers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So our goal is to help as many of these businesses that need it as possible. I want to thank those who did this with us first round and had to go through those hiccups with us. I know it was a tough, but we made it through, and we are here for them again for the second go round. So.
Outstanding. So back to the PPP here for the last few minutes. We've kind of broke down some of phase 2. Is there anything that we missed you want to kind of highlight on phase 2?
Sure. So, the terms of the loan are going to remain the same as they were in round 1. So it'll continue to be a 5-year term at a 1% interest rate with no fees, no collateral, no guarantees. So all of that will remain the same. Another thing to remember is that your business had to be operating prior to February 15th of 2020 to qualify. So that's going to be another piece that puts you either eligible or ineligible. Mm-hmm. And, just to remind everybody, PPP loans that are forgiven are not included as taxable income. And the expenses that are paid by PPP funds are deductible. So I know there's been a lot of question around that, and they've tried to clear that up, through this new round.
So it's our understanding, to say it another way, and we talked about this
Yes.
yesterday, but basically the revenue that you get from PPP is excluded from taxable income is one way to say it, so long as it's spent in the way it's supposed to be spent.
Correct, and forgiven. You're absolutely right.
Right. So 2.5 times, I hate to say free money, but money that is free to put to uses that are needed. That's a great caveat.
Absolutely.
Or a great factor, I think. So anything from phase one, and then I know there's some other assistance out there as well. So so anything from phase one we want to highlight. You've mentioned there were lessons learned. Is there anything in particular as people try to close that out to say, catch this or pay special attention to this?
Absolutely. So just as a reminder, the underwriting piece on bank's end is limited on these because we're pushing so many through, and the SBA has basically said, it's the borrower's responsibility to certify certain aspects of the application. So a lot of the eligibility questions are being certified by the borrower themselves, and the bank is going by those certifications to push the application through for approval. So, always my recommendation, if you're unsure, get legal advice. Be sure that you're asking the right questions. You understand what you're certifying on the application. That's a big deal on round one and round two. Be sure you hold on to your documentation. There's supposed to be a easier process for loans of 150 or less with less documentation required. But be sure you have that documentation and hold on to it just in case there ever is question later on down the road. We definitely recommend that. So, we'll have a checklist available on our website of what clients should get together in order to take application and what they need to have prepared. So that should be helpful. And again, it's www.centerstatebank.com. And then there's a link for the payroll protection program.
So I should have led the top of the order with that the bank's here to help, but you have individual circumstances. The chamber's here to help, but you have individual circumstances that you're going to want to talk to your accountant or your lawyer on.
Absolutely.
To make sure you fill this out correctly so that it benefits you and doesn't cause any consternation down the road. So 15 minutes is not enough time to have a conversation on such a difficult topic because there's so many angles on it. But we're going to wrap up this 15 minutes now and just kind of mention that the focus is PPP2. Again, if you want to learn more about it, I know Amber will come back with us. We'll probably set up a closed Zoom to have some more deeper dive into this. Try to answer these questions more. But if you want more information, just put in the thread there that you need that help or you're interested in doing the deeper dive, and we will follow those comments as they come in. There is some additional help. So today we were focusing PPP2, but you are still eligible for PPP1. There's also EIDL out there. And then there was something about a shuttered grant from the SBA. So we're following all of this, and
Yes.
We will try to get that information out to you to help your business when we can. But again, thank you, Amber, for being with us today. I'm sorry to cut this short. I'm sorry the live portion didn't work out. But we are here to serve you. We are champions for business and community. We thank Amber and Center State for supporting this broadcast and KUA for sponsoring it. And we will monitor those threads and then see you again next week. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, John.